4591, and we will have our phones on and watching this time in case something else goes wrong. But again, that number is 281-844-4591. And understand, tonight's training is it's probably one of the biggest keys for the new person. If you'll listen tonight, if you'll understand what you need to do and what the next steps are around what we're going to be training on tonight, this will be a key for your business. It will get you started and move you ahead faster than just about anything else we could share with you. And so just understand that tonight's training is a major key for our business. And whether you've been here 10 years like we have or just a couple of weeks, just understand that this is going to be a major part of your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I'm kind of laughing at the fact that we just had a mess up on our volume, because it really goes hand in hand with what we're talking about tonight, because we're going to talk about how mixers grow your business. And I know some of you do mixers all the time, and some of you have not done a mixer yet. You may have been to one, but you haven't done your own yet. So it's kind of great that we just messed up. And here's why. We didn't mess up on purpose, by the way, but it really works out well, because here's the thing. These Ustreams for us were a decision that we made because we know that being in the business for 10 years and having a lot of experience, and this business comes so easily to us now, that we have so many people around the nation that we have things that we can pour into you and help you with. But the Ustream itself, this is not part of the AdvoCare business. This is just technology that helps us reach a lot of people. But we're willing to do it, obviously, because we want to help you. And one of the things that happens in any realm of business or life in general, sports, anything, is successful people are willing to do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. And successful people are willing to do the uncomfortable until they get comfortable. Okay, and that sometimes means messing up at the beginning. Okay, so the Ustreams are still new to us. We just messed up. We didn't turn the volume on. But you know what? We're just keep pressing forward. We're not going to stop doing Ustreams because of that mistake. And that is such a perfect transition into what we're talking about tonight, because there's so many distributors out there saying yes to this business right now and having so many hopes and so many dreams for your family, and possibly, and actually most likely, you were even inspired and saw the bigger vision and the possibilities for your family because you went to a mixer, yet you're not consistently doing them yet yourself. Okay, and sometimes that's because you're not yet willing to be uncomfortable or make mistakes or do those things that the successful AdvoCare distributors are doing, and there's reasons that it's holding you back. There's reasons why you're not doing them, but you know what? Tonight we're going to break all those barriers, okay? Because after tonight, we know that every single one of you is going to be so excited about what mixers really are all about and why it is going to be so simple for you to step into this. We're just going to give you a few key tips. We're going to really walk you through just some basics on mixers, because there's a saying in AdvoCare. I know you guys have your journals out. I want you to write this down. M, 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 okay? And we heard this from Daniel McDaniel years and years ago. And it stands for more mixers mean more money, okay? No doubt we're all here to earn income for our families and to help other people earn income for their families, and more mixers mean more money, okay? We get paid to make presentations in AdvoCare. So we're going to really cover this topic tonight and talk to you about a few things. So first thing I want to do is I just want to define a mixer in a way that just kind of demystifies it for a new guy and makes you understand what it's really all about. A mixer is simply a gathering. Okay, it's just a gathering of two or more people where you show them AdvoCare's products and business opportunity. So you basically are opening up the understanding of what's possible for people in their lives with AdvoCare products and AdvoCare business. That's all it is, okay? And here's the thing. You can all do mixers. You don't need your leader to do lots and lots and lots of mixers for you. I want you to walk away from tonight with a greater confidence that you can do mixers. And we're going to just help you unwrap that for yourself, okay? Now, when you're new, I want to clarify a couple of things. let's say you just got recruited into the business, you just said yes, possibly placed your advisor order already, and you're ready to start having your mixers, okay? Ready to get that list of people going with your leader. Your first couple mixers are absolutely going to be with your leader, okay? You don't want to go out and do your first mixer by yourself unless, of course, you live long distance from your leader, and then we're going to just demystify that for you too and let you know that you can do your mixer all by yourself with your leader on the phone or Skyped in, okay? But let's just assume that you have, it's time now for your first few mixers. You are going to use your leader for those for a couple of reasons. One, when your leader does your first few mixers for you, you're watching and you're learning so that you can duplicate what you see, okay? So it is your on-the-job training. And secondly, when you do your first few mixers, those are your top relationships. Those are your go-to people. Those are your top 10, in other words. These are the people that you have the most influence with. So you really and truly need that third-party credibility right away, right off the bat with those key prospects, okay? So just know that those first few mixers are critical to use your leader. Now then, after that, you take it from there. Actually, I know you were going to talk a little bit about how they might watch their leader do the steps.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the things that we've always heard is that you're going to learn and you're going to earn. And so the reason that you want to have your first couple of mixers and have your leader there and let your leader do that mixer is a couple of reasons. One, you're gonna see how mixers get started. You're gonna hear phrases about what you say to somebody when they come through the door, and you're gonna offer them a spark. And you know, some may say, "What is this?" You're gonna learn all of those key phrases, but you're also gonna learn the flow and how that mixer flows. And so, what happens before, what happens during, and then what happens after the mixer. And it's always going to be imperative that you, as the new person, sit and just take notes,
right,
and make sure that you're understanding. And if you have any questions, write those down. And then after the meeting's over, after people have left and the business has been taken care of, you can ask those questions and have a really good understanding of exactly not only what just happened, but why it just happened. And so, you know, it's always going to be key to have, you know, to have your person there. Now, the second mixer or the third mixer that your leader does for you, they may ask you to open.
Right.
They may pick a part of it and say, you know, now that you've seen a couple of mixers, Mary, what part of it would you feel comfortable doing? And you know, somebody may just absolutely quickly say, I'd like to, you know, cover the doctors. That's really a big thing for me, or the endorsers or some product results and something like that. And so, you know, that's the part that they'll do. And then the next time it'll be a little bit more, and then maybe the third time maybe your leader's there, but maybe you do the whole mixer.
Right.
And so it's just a very it's a quick progression, but it's a gradual progression. And it also like Karen said, that word demystifies. That's a great word, because these mixers are a key fundamental for your business. You should very quickly get to the point to where you can do a mixer at the drop of a hat, whether it's one person or 10 people. And so, because sometimes it may be a 10-person mixer, but in reality, when at the end it's 7:15 or 7:30, there may only be one person there, and you're going to do that mix because that's the person that was assigned to be there that night for you. And so you may do that mixer, that exact same mixer for that person. And what we found over time is that sometimes when you have only one or two people there, those are the most powerful mixers that you can do. But certainly the key and the reason that you want your leader there is so you can learn and earn at the same time.
Yep. Now, and I love that. You know, we were on the phone with Kirk Taylor the other day, and he has a new distributor up in Austin, and Kirk was in the car on his way to Austin to do some mixers for his new distributor. But right away, Kirk was talking about, oh, I'm going to do the first one, I'm going to do the first, then he's going to do the first half, I'm going to do the second half, then I'm going to have him do a mixer all by himself and watch him. See, that's what's called leadership. Because leadership gives that away to the new guy and says, you're going to be able to do this too. And so we're going to talk about that and being able to encourage your newest distributors that they can do this right away. I'm going to give you a couple of concepts that I was thinking about that I think are really powerful for you to understand why this can be so powerful for your business in the long haul. And first of all, this is something that I want you to think about. Your business in AdvoCare is going to grow, and consistently you're going to see growth in your business and that snowball effect when you begin to have a consistent rhythm to your business. In other words, there are things that you do throughout the week. We've been talking about them, Spark samples and sharing your story and opening an impact magazine, getting people on products. This is something that we end up doing on a consistent basis, and there's a rhythm to that. But when you can put into that mixers, into that rhythm, everything becomes more impactful, because as you do all of those basic fundamental steps of AdvoCare, the mixers are in place to roll people into as a next step. Okay, so if you are learning that your business has this rhythm to it and that there's a mixer on the calendar every week, then you're going to start to see growth. Now, on top of that consistency, you have to also learn how to add a mixer to your calendar spontaneously, either for yourself or for somebody that you meet. Okay, so let me give you a couple of examples of that and some great goals. Okay, for instance, I believe it's a great goal to have a mixer scheduled at your home once a week, especially when you're new in the business or your first couple of years in the business, when you don't have a large team yet. Okay, so Andy and I, not necessarily do we have a mixer in our home every week anymore, but we're talking about your growth phase of your business, really getting where you want to be. Okay, so once a week, a great goal to commit to. So throughout the week, you're in that rhythm of doing things, and you know that if you are following up with somebody that you have on products or that you've sampled, you can say, hey, on Thursday night, we're having some people over to the house. Why don't you come and see how you can make money for your family through this great product line? Or why don't you come and see what's happening for others on these products and could happen for you too? Okay, very natural, very simple as you're walking through the process with people. But at the same time, you might have a few really great things happening, and you talk to somebody and follow up with somebody who has several people that are already interested in asking about AdvoCare. That's when spontaneity might happen. And you might say, hey, could you gather those friends all together at your lunch break that you work with that are asking about AdvoCare, and I'll come and present and show them AdvoCare and let them know what's possible for them, and you can earn some money. So that's a spontaneous mixer because you're going with the flow of what's happening. So we don't want to be rigid. I only do mixers on this night, but we want to be consistent, and then we want to learn how to be spontaneous at the same time. Okay?
And another thing about being consistent is that, it definitely, it's great for you, because as you're out there talking with people and meeting people on a day-to-day basis, if there is an interest, then you can just plug them in. Just like Karen said, you can plug them into that mixer, whatever night you've chosen. Even more importantly, if you've got just even a few team members out there and they're talking to people and they know that you're doing a mixer on a consistent basis, then they'll be doing the same thing. They'll be able to say, you know what, my leader, the person that helps me with my business, they're having a mixer at their house and they do one every Tuesday. The thing that tells somebody is that there's a system in place, there's a plan in place, and that if you're being able to plug somebody in, maybe they'll be able to plug somebody in too. So that's a real critical piece about being consistent with your mixer, especially the first couple of years in the business while you're growing your team.
Absolutely, and also as you recruit, you might have a goal that you have a mixer in your home every single week, once a week, because you're committed to your own goals and you are always looking for new business. So that's your mixer to bring people to continue to invite. We're not re-inviting the same people over and over. We're always looking for new people to see the message. But also as you recruit, another great goal is not only to have one mixer in your home every week, but one mixer for a team member that you're doing. So you have a new team member, okay? We talked about the Gambles last week. They're new team members, okay? So even though Andy and I do mixers Monday nights at the training center, when you have a new distributor who's working, following the system, and very hungry for success, you want to get into their living room. You want to immediately let them be in their own atmosphere and invite their friends, because that's their most likely place to get people to say yes to come to. So it's always good to think about one mixer for yourself, one mixer for a team member as you're growing that team. Right. And the other thing you want to think about is group mixers. Okay, you may have been beginning your business and have developed a small team of your own. And it's very powerful to, like Andy said, to say, well, we're having a mixer and everybody brings somebody, because then there's more stories in the room and there's more bodies in the room. And one of your new team members may only have 1 or 2 prospects, and they're bringing them to a mixer that might now have 8 or 9 bodies or 10 or 15 people in the room, okay? So these are things to think about. As a matter of fact, a great example of this is that up in Ohio, okay, when, you know, Holly and Jamie Yon, amazing distributors. They got very hungry for the business. A few years ago, they recruited 1 team member, Todd and Shannon Barble. And people used to ask, how did y'all move so quickly in the business? And Todd was very clear. He said, every single solitary Monday night, Holly and Jamie and their new team members, Todd and Shannon, would have a mixer. And they said their very first mixer, there were 7 people there. The 4 of them, and I think another team member and a couple of guests, and that's it. And what they said at the end of that mixer was, who can you bring back here next Monday night? Who can you bring back? And so all week, all of them followed the success system and shared AdvoCare, and that following Monday, there were more people in the room. And that started to snowball, and they stayed in that living room every Monday night as a group for a while. And then all of a sudden, some of those leaders started doing their own mixers. And so now you can see how things can grow, because they were doing mixers in their own living rooms with the same concept, and more people were growing into this incredible diamond organization. They both hit diamond very quickly because of that. Okay, so it's just a matter of, honestly, it's as simple as this. More mixers mean more money. And the only way to have more mixers is to have the mindset of doing them. Okay, now I want to talk mindset now for a few minutes, and here's why. And I'll never forget this, but when Andy and I got to the place when we had made a decision that we were going to build AdvoCare as a business, to get him options, to get out of the chemical plant, it was very obvious that we weren't doing some of the things right that, you know, successful people were doing. So one decision that we made was we were going to do weekly mixers. Okay, so our mindset was, that's it, we're doing them. Now you have to be flexible. Everybody's life looks different, and there are some great nights for mixers. Okay, so a lot of people do mixers on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights, because those are really good nights to tend to get people to come. But don't let that stop you if those nights aren't good for you. For a while, because of Andy's shift work, we chose Friday nights. Now, that wasn't the greatest night of the week at certain times of the year because of football, you know, high school football and all of that. But for a while, we were doing them on Friday nights. But it was the commitment. That's what I want to talk to you about. Don't quit scheduling your mixers because you've had some no-shows, okay? Because it's very tempting to do that. You say, well, I gave that a try. I had some mixers, I invited some people, and nobody came, so now I'm going to try something different. No, this is a marathon, not a sprint. This business is about a long-term mentality. Okay, so you have to just keep thinking that. You have to promise yourself that you're going to commit to the process. And part of the AdvoCare process is having mixers on a regular basis to show people the products and the business opportunity, and to open their eyes to what's possible for them in their life, right? We said that at the beginning. So you've got to remember that mixers are a part of the process. Now, the more you do them, the easier they are. I promise you that. It's funny, the message will just start coming out of you, okay? And I've had distributors tell me that over and over again. They're like, oh my gosh, I was practicing and I used to have to think so hard and use my note cards, and then one day somebody asked me to do a mixer for them, and I just drove to their house and realized that I just did it. That will happen to you too, okay? But you have to be willing to do mixers when they feel awkward. You have to be willing to do mixers when you're not great yet at sharing the message. You have to be willing to do mixers when you're still using index cards, note cards, and you're looking at it and just, you know, walking through it and saying to your friends, I'm new, but this message is so great, it's worth hearing about, you know, and that's the thing you have to remember. It's
Right.
not about you.
Yeah, and the other thing, you know, since we're here on mindset, understand a lot of the times the people that you're going to be talking to, they don't know anything about AdvoCare. You're really kind of the expert. And so if you're work, we're going to get into this to the system and the time and the process of this in just a few minutes. But if you forget something and you realize later on during the mixture that you skipped a step, just go back and do it.
Yeah.
Just understand that the people that we're talking to, a lot of the times, they really don't know anything. And as long as you're smiling and talking about Advocare and answering their questions if they have questions, and just showing them what Advocare has to offer, there's a lot of grace there. And so, just know that the faster you step over that line and start doing these mixers and just get comfortable with it. Remember, everybody can do these mixers. A lot of people are very fortunate that their leaders live around them, or that there are mixers that they can plug into. But I want you to understand that there's people all over this country, in a lot of the states, whether it's Wyoming or Nevada, some of those the people they're out there in the middle of nowhere. They do these mixers themselves the first time with some coaching from their leaders, and you can do it too. And if you're in an area that you can actually get some training and some mentorship, even better. But just step into it with the mindset of 3. I'm gonna watch it 3 times, or I'm gonna watch it a couple of times, and then I'm gonna do half of it, or I'm gonna do the whole thing. Mm-hmm. That's the mindset that you want here.
I love that. Okay, let's give you a couple of tips. Okay, these are just, I want to share a couple of tips for you to be able to be really successful quickly. Okay, many of you already know about this, but I've observed lots and lots of things, and what I find is that sometimes we know things exist, we even print out the information, but just like I talked about last week, slow down to speed up. You want to slow down to speed up and really take advantage of this resource. Okay, on our team website, teambelieve.biz, which you're on right now, there's a mixer tab. Okay, and I would really recommend that you take the time to read everything on that mixer tab. It will not take you that long. But when I put that together, it was honestly as if I were coming side by side with a new guy and trying to think of all the things that could help them avoid pitfalls and have optimal success when they're stepping out and doing their mixers. Okay, so it's very important stuff, and it's great to be able to read through it and not have some of those early on mistakes. Okay, but you have to take the time to read it. You have to take the time to watch the short videos that are on there, and then there's something that says print mixer format. And that format, while there's many different ways you can do a mixer, when it comes to the exact order of things, it's a start. It's the way we do it, and it's been successful for us. But if you'll print that mixer format and read through it, that's where you can make your little index cards, or just know which different parts of the message have to be shared, and you'll have confidence. But you've got to slow down enough to do that. The whole page talks about a pre-event. What do you do before a mixer to ensure that you're going to get people there successfully and that you're going to be ready for the mixer? What are your activities during an event, appropriate and not appropriate? And then what's your job at the end? There's some real key quotes and things that you can say to people that will really get things going. So I wanted everybody to know about that. But more than that, what I do, and you can do this too, is as you begin to do mixers for other people and you schedule them, one of the things you can say is, okay, we've got it on the calendar, and then you coach them up on how to effectively get people to the mixer. We're going to talk about that tonight, how to effectively get people there. You have to coach people up on that so they don't step out and make mistakes right away. But after you coach them up on how to get people to the mixer, send them to that mixer tab and say, if you'll please read through all that. That's going to answer almost all your questions, and then we'll talk after you read through all that. So what you've just done is you've duplicated the process so that when they begin to do mixers for other people, they'll be pointing them towards that coaching also, because that's what that mixer tab is for. It's to coach and really empower people. Okay. So Team Belief, that's one of the things I wanted you to know about. Another tip, mixers have a format. I want you to write that down. Mixers have a format. All parts of an Advocare mixer should always be covered for success. okay? You do not want to reinvent the wheel here. Once you look at the format and you understand that there's parts to the mixer, prepare yourself. Practice. You know, like Andy said, watch and then do what your leaders have done instead of picking and choosing what parts you're comfortable with, because you want to be doing all of that. Now, after you know that there's a message and there's a format and there are parts, then you're going to insert your own personality. The mixers become fun when you're not a robot, when you don't say exactly what your leader says, but you say the message of AdvoCare with your own personality. There's nothing that gives us more joy than watching the people on our team do mixers, because we're always smiling going, man, I love what Jeff just said, or did you just hear Kirk, or you know, any of them. As they're doing the mixers, we get to hear all these different expressions of how they share the message of AdvoCare. The message of AdvoCare, though, should not ever be altered, okay? We have a unified message in this company, and it's very important that you stick with the unified message. First of all, because you'll have success in doing your mixers and getting people to be attracted to it, but more than that, because anything you do duplicates, whether you do it right or whether you do it wrong, okay? So we want to make sure that I want to talk about the DVD a little bit, and I know Andy probably does too. Our DVD is so powerful. It's just incredible. There's so much on that DVD, and that is an absolute slow down to speed up step, knowing that entire DVD. And while we don't play all of it at the mixer, there are certain parts that you always want to go through, and it's so beautiful because it's not only powerful, and it shares the message so easily, it's duplicatable. So you'll find that when we do mixers, sometimes people want to hear, like, oh, I want you to explain the 24-day challenge because you know so much about it. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. And here's why. I want that person sitting in